Hello and welcome to our session from Hoof University today. I hope you're all good and thanks for joining us. My name is Franziska Merkner. I'm working in the Welcome Center of Hoof University, and together with Maria, she's a student here at Hoof University, we will present 30 minutes today, and then we will do a Q&A session. Maria, can you shortly introduce yourself?
Всім привіт! Я Марія, я навчаюсь в ХОФі ще поки що, бо я вже майже закінчила навчання, тому я сьогодні буду відповідати на ваші питання, які більш стосуються прикладних речей. І так, я розмовляю українською, тому де зможу, ще підтримую Франциску з презентацією, своїм якимось досвідом поділюсь.
Thank you. All right, thank you. At first, I will show you a short video about Hoof University so that you get an image about us.
Cool an meinem Studiengang ist einfach, dass man die Zukunft mitgestaltet. Also wer kann denn heutzutage noch ohne sein Handy leben, ohne ganzen Apps auf den Handys, ohne Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp. Und was einfach Spaß macht, ist, dass sobald ich eine App-Idee habe oder irgendwas entwickeln möchte, was in die Richtung geht, kann ich das in meinem Studium integrieren.
Für mich persönlich macht die Hochschule Hof besonders, dass sie klein, überschaubar ist und dass die große Mehrheit der Mitglieder der Hochschule, dazu zählen auch die Studenten, diese Hochschule wirklich nach vorne treiben und wir deshalb auch in der Hochschullandschaft eine ganz gute Stellung einnehmen.
Die Hochspannung baut Elektrorennen weg und fährt damit auf Rennen jedes Jahr. In einem Konstruktionswettbewerb, der Formel der Student heißt, so ähnlich wie die Formel 1, nur für Studenten. Und wir entwickeln jedes Jahr ein neues Auto, bauen es und fahren damit gegen andere Teams auf Rennen.
Also ISIS ist ein Institut auf dem Campus, an dem Professoren ihre Forschungen tätigen können, aber auch Studenten ihre Bachelor- oder Masterarbeit machen können oder auch sogar promovieren können nach dem Studium.
My experience living here in Hof has been very positive. The people are super friendly, the communication with the professors are really open, like you can ask them everything and they will reply.
Okay, that was our short video. Now, the next step is that I want to ask you a short questions. I want to know if you're interested in bachelor's or master's programs and more in German programs or in English programs. Thank you. Okay, bachelor's in English. Just wait a few more seconds. Okay, more people are interested in bachelor's in German than in English. Okay, all right. The poll is always changing. Okay, so we have the full range. Most people are interested in bachelor programs. Thank you. Then I will close this poll. I also want to know what fields of interest you are interested in. What field of study programs, I mean. Sorry, that was the wrong one. Study level. Yes, study fields. So at Hoof University, we have business programs, IT programs, engineering programs, and other programs in innovative and interdisciplinary sciences. Please choose your field of interest. Okay, thank you. IT programs mostly, then engineering programs and business programs. So we will continue with our presentation. First, I show you where Hof is located. Hof is more or less in the middle of Germany, in the eastern part, very close to the border of Czech Republic, and it's the northern, the most northern city of the federal state of Bavaria. I don't know if you heard of it. City of Hof can be described cozy and safe. It's rather small and easy to orientate. You can reach many destinations just by walking. There's around 45,000 inhabitants. As I said, it's more in the middle of Germany, so it's between Munich and Berlin. And Hof has the advantage that it shows a high density of small and medium-sized companies and industrial places in the fields of machinery, automotive, plastics, ceramic, and textiles. That's why the Hof University is also doing research exactly in that parts. Then quickly I want to show you what we actually are. So we are an institution of applied sciences. There are universities and there are universities of applied sciences. And the difference is that universities of applied sciences includes more practical phases. They have closely linked cooperations with the industry. They can cater for the needs of the industry. And in almost all study programs, you will find that there is a mandatory internship, or also that your thesis has to be written with a company. Those universities are likely to cover the engineering, technology, and business fields mostly. And that's why also 70% of the engineers in Germany come from those applied sciences schools. So that you just that you're able to differentiate the two. Normal universities cover all kind of subjects, and they are more focused on research and enable. They're putting things into context, analyzing it, and also viewing things more critically, I would say. And the universities of applied sciences focus on the practical approach. So what Hof University stands for is that it has this strong practice orientation, like I just said, mandatory internships included in your study program. Then also we have a lot of research in green tech going on. For example, we have a hydrogen container. We have lots of research about sustainable packaging, sustainable textiles, something like that. Another characteristics is that we have an intensive support service, and we are rather small class groups, So the professors can really answer your question, like it was also mentioned in the video, and they're always there for you. There's a close supervision, I would say closer than at the bigger universities. We also have established a startup culture here. We have a startup center, and if you have an idea during your study program or after that, you can really try to get consultation about that and include that all in your studies. So Hoof University Fast Fact, founded in 1994, very student-centered, focusing on the career perspectives, like I already said, approximately 3,800 students, and about 30% of them are international students from more than 60 nations. We have around 118 full-time professors. They all have experience in the industry, so that's also an important factor. We have around 40 bachelor's master's degrees. 16 programs are completely taught in English. We have 4 departments: business, computer science, engineering, and interdisciplinary sciences. And we have a graduate school. I will come to that later. And there are also 6 research institutes on campus. That was also shown in the video. There's a lot going on in the field of textiles and their innovative power, for which we have an extra campus. You can study sustainable textiles there, for example, or textile design. In this campus is really, has like a high-tech equipment. It is really, really modern. You can try out lots of things there, and also the practical approach is included there, as well as in our main campus. So, like I already said, the teaching methods are focused on the application-oriented knowledge. Study groups are smaller, and the professors are able to cater for the individual needs of a student. Also, we have a strong focus on the career promoting aspects, like career talks or trainings or job interviews. Like I already said, there's a lot of research being done in the field of sustainability and the combination of green tech and internationalization. So we have lots of projects with partner universities, international researchers, and the emphasis here is put on water and energy efficiency. Our university was ranked as the best university on the StudyCheck platform 2 times. This year, in 2026, it was ranked on rank 3 among the universities with less than 5,000 students. We also have a good system accreditation. That means we have that label of the highest level of accreditation in Germany, and this refers to that the university makes sure to fulfill regulation in terms of quality of the study programs with an internal quality management. Audit internationalization means that the university is also focusing on the strategies to internationalize, and this audit gives recommendations and specific measures in regards to this. The third one is called Weltoffene Hochschule. This is a campaign against any kind of racism, chauvinism, and sexism at the university. And also we have like a fair trade logo. That means that university tries to enhance its purchase of food to support producers and human conditions in the global south. One of the key characteristics is practice orientation. As I already said, when you're doing a master thesis, then it's always project-based and can be done in cooperation with industry or a company. You can continuously exchange your ideas with professors and the industry. and all the professors have PhDs and long-standing experience in the industry. I was already talking about that employability is one of the main goals at Hoof University. It is actively promoted. You can participate in workshops for job interviews, in career talks. You can also have your application checked and given advice. Also, when it's only about an internship, for example. The study groups are always small so that every student can be cared for in detail. The green tech research at Hoof University is included in our research institutes. We have 6 of them. The Information Systems Institutes is like about operational application of information systems. We have research groups like innovative healthcare or system and network security. We have an institute for material science. This is developing and testing innovative materials like metals, ceramics, and composites. For example, SmartWind explores the materials in wind turbines under extreme conditions. There's also the Institute for Hydrogen and Energy. Here you can research in sustainable water and energy technologies, energy efficiency, research management, and water treatment. And there's also the Sustainable Water Systems Institute. There it's about things like Sponge City, local and sustainable food production, and phonetics. Then there's also Institute for Biopolymers. This is specializing in bio-based plastics. And it allows research on material development like recycling for a circular economy. Okay. The last institute is the Institute for Economic and Organizational Research. It conducts applied research in business administration, organizational development, and digital transformation. There's also a kind of a startup center at Hoof University where you can try to include your ideas. When you're still a student, you don't have to sit in the classroom only. You can also be self-effective. You can talk about it. You can have the space to make use of a network. You can attend events. And you can also really think about starting a startup or starting a project. Now we come to the fields of actually the study programs and the requirements to this. Maria will shortly say something about the requirements for Ukrainian citizens or for the Ukrainian background.
Так, я, наприклад, вступала без студент-колег. Напевно, ви вже чули про студент-колег, якщо ви цікавитеся вступом до Німеччини. Це як проміжний крок між школою та університетом через те, що ми навчаємося поки що 11 років, а в Німеччині навчаються 12. Через це ми маємо вступати до студент-колегу і потім вступати до університету. Але як це зробила я вчилась ще 1 рік в університеті. В моєму випадку це було в Білорусі, але це так само працює для українських університетів. Якщо після школи ви закінчуєте 1 рік університету, це рахується за студент-колег. Тоді вам не треба вступати ще туди. Ви можете напряму подаватися до німецьких університетів через Uni-Assist. Але для свого конкретного випадку ви можете перевірити, чи потрібно вам студент-колег, чи потрібно вам які додаткові вимоги для вашого випадку. Ви можете все це перевірити на DAAD. Зараз поділяся з вами лінком, але ви можете і так це знайти в інтернеті, де ви маєте просто ввести ваш рівень освіти, і ось лінк, ваш рівень освіти і чи хочете ви в університет в Німеччині, і тоді на цьому сайті вам запропонують шляхи, що вам потрібно зробити, щоб вступити.
Okay, thank you. I've included the link for the DAD page. You can just click on it and maybe mark it in your browser, and then you can find out actually how you get to a German university and what you have to do before. Now about our bachelor programs. Most of you, or many of you, were interested in German and English taught bachelor programs. They mostly last for 3.5 years, including one practical semester, like an internship. And this is the fields we have. We have business, computer science, engineering, and innovative sciences. Later in the Q&A section, if you're interested in a specific field, you can just ask about it, and I can also show you the web page of the programs. For the German taught programs, you need a German level of B2. Yes, and some of the programs, they also have like English parts, like international management is mostly taught in German, but some of the modules are taught in English. And here we have like nursing for experienced professionals and nursing according to the Nursing Professional Act. Actually, the first one is a paid bachelor's program. So it's like a like vocational training together with university lectures. What's also important to say is that engineering science bachelor is something that you can start with the general engineering, and then you can select a certain field, for example, environmental engineering or mechanical engineering. The German master's program are usually from 1.5 years to 2 years, depending on the program. Here we have the most programs in business. For example, applied psychology, digital business management, or human resources and labor law, or supply chain management. Engineering, you can also study mechanical engineering in your master's. Yes. The bachelor's and master's programs taught in English. So what's actually right for all the study programs, there are no tuition fees, except for 5 of them, but I will talk about them later. The administrative fee is around 140 or 50 euros per semester. English taught programs in bachelor's, we have computer science. This is a program that starts in German and switches to English in the 3rd semester. We have 2 brand new engineering programs in English, environmental engineering and engineering science. In that engineering science, you can also specialize into a certain field. Innovative textiles is an engineering program that starts in English and then switches to, no, it starts in German and then switches to English later. This is like the contrary to the first program. And in the master section, we have AI-driven supply chain management, global management. Then in the IT sector, applied research in computer science, AI and robotics. And we also have AI-aided mobility design, sustainable textile, sustainable water management, and textile design. So for the bachelor's programs, in general, you need a higher entrance qualification. As we already said, you can check your ability on that DAD webpage. You also need, like for the English taught programs, you need an English test score. We only accept TOEFL or IELTS. And of course, you need the German language skills. For all English taught programs, you need a level A1 and B2 for the German programs. For the master's programs, you need to have a bachelor's degree, mostly with 210 credits. For many master's programs, you can also apply if you have only 180 credits. And often it's the case that you can make up for the missing credits in order to take like modules or to take an internship. So you could also get admission if you have less than 210 credits in your bachelor's. The final grade, 2.5, is also often the case for the master programs. And of course, the English test for the English taught programs and the German test. Also, like Maria already said, the UniAssist evaluation is almost always needed for non-EU students. UniAssist is evaluating your degree and is converting your grades and is giving you a documentation. When you applied on UniAssist, afterwards you have to apply on our portal. It's called Primus as well. So there are 2 steps mainly in the application process. Then we have 5 programs in the graduate school. I will not talk more about it. If you are interested in it, you can ask questions about it later. Those programs are MBA programs, and you need work experience for that. And you also have to pay 3,300 tuition fees per semester for these programs. So about the academic calendar, the next possible application period would be April, from April 15 to May 31. And this would be the period for the next winter semester starting on October 1. And the next application period for the summer semester runs in November. If you apply here to HOF University and you get an admission, there will always be orientation weeks before the start of your program. So for the winter semester, they would be in last weeks of September, and for the summer semester, they would be in the first 2 weeks of March. In this orientation weeks, you will get like a closely information system from our international office, in order that you can firstly network with other international students, and that you know how the administrative things work on campus. There are also intercultural trainings offered, and also fun events. Now about student life, I will ask Maria to talk about her experiences.
Я насправді пропустила більшість всього соціального і прикольного в університеті, тому що я працюю на повний день і навчаюсь. І я можу сказати, що дійсно багато всяких активностей пропонує університет, пропонують студентські як організації. Постійно є якісь вечірки, є студентське кафе у місті, вони теж кожного тижня влаштовують якісь заходи. Тому насправді вистачає можливості познайомитися з іншими студентами, і активності вистачає. Треба лише стежити за цим і реально приймати участь.
Okay, thank you, Maria. Then about our international partners, Hoof University has more than 130 partner institutions in about 60 countries. If you study here, you can always also apply for a semester abroad in our international office, for example. And Hoof University believes that internationalization is a huge chance for tackling our global challenges. There's a warm welcome culture in plenty of like services for international students, and also we invite lots of joint teaching activities. We also have like a international teaching week every 2 years, where international professors come to the university, and students from European countries can apply to participate in it for 1 week. Yes, I will not go into that further because we don't have that much time. Just something shortly about our housing office. When you get admission to the university, you can apply for a housing, and the housing office will like give you an accommodation. You can apply for one and like choose some accommodations in a housing pool, and then you can make sure to get a housing for sure. Like I said, orientation week before the start of your studies is really important. We have online events there for the people who haven't arrived yet due to visa, for example. And we have on-campus events like campus tours, lunch in the cafeteria, or like other introductions to research labs. And we also have fun events like city trips organized from students. Then we also have German language courses you can attend during the semester. You can also learn other languages whenever you want. And we have like an international student network that brings together German and international students and builds network and does like events or cultural activities. Yeah, everything else I've already mentioned. Intensive social and academic guidance by professors, and so on. Currently, we have 2 dorms. One is directly at the university, one is more in the city, but there's another one built at the moment. The rent in Hof is quite cheap if you compare it to other cities in Germany. So this is definitely an advantage. The rent for a single room is between 350 and 550. You can not only have like a single room, you can also live in a shared flat, or in a shared flat in a student dormitory. And when the housing office is offering you rooms, it will take into account the student dorms, as well as they have contracts with private landladies and landlords. For your living expenses in Hof, you can calculate about 800 to 1,000 a month. When you come here and you need a visa, then you have to take into account that for the local embassy, you need to prove enough financial resources. 992 euro per month at the moment. Yeah, this is also something you should have in mind. So when you are interested in our study programs or in the application process, please don't hesitate to contact via this email address here, welcome@hof-university.de. I will just write it in the chat again. You can contact us there. And also you can visit our main page, of course. I will also show you our Instagram channel. You can visit that one as well. So now we have been talking enough. I would start the Q&A section now. So what is there in the chat? Here we have sorry, one moment. Okay, what English level do you realistically need to study comfortably? So for the German taught programs, like I said, you you don't need English level. Sometimes when there's English parts in the German taught programs, you need to know English. The IELTS test or the TOEFL test is the English level on a B2, so you should have at least B2 to study comfortably, I would say. C1 is even better, and for the English taught programs, yeah, B2 is mandatory. What does practice-orientated really mean at HOF? More labs or more team projects? I would say both, but especially more labs. Often it's the case that when you do your practical work in your study program, you can also go into a lab at the university. And related to that is, of course, team projects. So if you do like a practical work at HOF University, you will probably not do it alone, but more in a team.
Can I add something to this?
Yeah, sure.
Я можу казати лише з досвіду інформатики, бо я вивчаю медіаінформатику, і я бачила, що тут багато людей цікавляться саме IT, тому це в нашому випадку значить, що в нас дуже багато проєктів. За семестр у нас не було жодного семестру без проєктів. За семестр ми беремо десь 6 предметів, і щонайменше 2-3 з них це будуть проекти. Тобто іспит в кінці – це презентація проекту. І це можуть бути, в моєму випадку, це були дизайн-проекти, ігри ми теж розробляли, це завжди програмування. Це в кожному семестрі буде щось з програмування. Тому так, багато роботи в командах. Є предмети, які багато важать як по пунктах. Там зазвичай предмет – це 5 пунктів, але є предмети на 10 пунктів, і це зазвичай командна робота. Ви маєте в групі з 4-5 людей розробити гру і презентувати її в кінці. І гру не тільки дизайн-концепт, а саме імплементацію цієї гри. Ви повністю з нуля розробляєте ідею, як воно виглядає, як воно працює. Все це показуєте в кінці. Тому це дуже прикладна штука. І це насправді для таких напрямків, як IT, дуже корисно. Набагато краще, мені здається, вивчати IT саме в такому прикладному університеті, а не в університеті, де просто в аудиторії сидить під 100 людей, і ти не можеш, в тебе немає проєкту, в тебе є знання і немає досвіду, як працювати з цими знаннями. А в Хофі ти можеш звернутися напряму до викладача, ти працюєш постійно в команді, ти постійно здобуваєш ці прикладні, більш як прикладний досвід.
Okay, thank you so much. I think you have lots of good answers, more than me, because you have the student perspective. To certain things, I cannot really say much. Another question was, it's a beautiful campus. Thank you. When was it built? So it was founded in 1994. So it was built at some point in the 90s, but I'm not sure when exactly. The nice thing is also that it's surrounded by greeneries. There's a huge, large park nearby, and it's really, really calm. So there are no big streets around. So it's a really nice study environment. Which programs at Hof are currently most popular among international students? So the new program, AI-driven supply chain management, a master's program, is really popular at the moment. In general, things that relate to AI, like artificial intelligence and robotics, or AI aided mobility design, for example. What is also very popular is the global management master's program. And in the fields of bachelors, we have the computer science bachelor, which is really popular. And with the new engineering programs, we will see how many people will we get admission. But I think engineering and business is still the most popular, followed by the IT programs. Or do you have another impression, Maria?
Hard for me to tell because I'm the only international student in my group. And
Yeah,
I don't have
because
much
you're
insight.
studying in German, so
Yes.
yeah, I was only talking about the English taught programs now. We also have internationals in the German taught programs, but not that much. How long does application review usually take from submission to decision? That is something I can also not really answer. If you apply earlier, you will get a response earlier, that's for sure. If you apply at the beginning of the application period, you can get like a response after 3 weeks, 4 weeks, something, but it's always the decision of the examination board, and I cannot really say something about it. Your application will always be considered no matter when you will apply, but when you apply earlier, you will get an earlier response, of course.
May I add something to this?
Sure.
З мого досвіду це зайняло приблизно 2 місяці, але ви можете подавати скільки завгодно заявок, скільки завгодно університетів.
Okay. All right. The presentation. So the session is recorded at the moment, and it will be sent to you if I'm right. If a student's German is weak, can they manage the first year? Well, yeah, the German language is quite a challenge. In the German taught programs, yeah, can you say something, Maria? Like, how hard is it to study in German?
Це питання як для німецька в плані для навчання, чи ви хочете навчатися англійською і німецькою як просто додатково? Треба це теж якось розуміти. Бо в моєму випадку я навчалася німецькою, і в мене не було досвіду життя в Німеччині без універу, тому я просто як приїхала і одразу почала вчитися. І це був мій перший досвід реальної німецької. І так, це важко, але не неможливо. І при тому, що я склала іспит з німецької на B2, коли приїжджаєш, тут все одно інша німецька. Типу, все одно ти розгубишся, все одно буде важко. Але це реально зробити. Просто потрібно постійно ставити питання, якщо ти чогось не розумієш, постійно всіх питати. І це знову дуже набагато простіше зробити в такому невеликому університеті, де ти можеш реально після пари підійти до викладача і поставити всі свої питання, і тобі завжди допоможуть, і ти можеш додаткові якісь імейли писати, і завжди отримуєш відповідь в дуже короткі сроки. Тут всі орієнтовані на студентів, і через те, що групи невеликі, всі отримують достатньо уваги від викладача. Тому навіть з якоюсь слабкою німецькою все одно, якщо ви проактивно ставитеся, у вас все вийде. А якщо ви хочете навчатися англійською і німецькою вам потрібно просто, щоб вижити типу в Німеччині, то навіть слабка німецька достатньо.
The next question, how are exams done? More written tests or more project presentations? Both. I think many projects and presentations as well. That depends on the study program. What would you say, Maria?
В моєму випадку теж це просто залежить від самого фаху, типу від самого предмету. Якщо це теоретичний предмет, як казала, є 6 предметів на кожен семестр, і десь половина або, залежить від семестру, менше за половину буде теоретичні, і це зазвичай тести. Це письмовий тест, найзвичайніший іспит. Є презентації теж. Якщо це був проєкт, його треба буде в кінці презентувати, показати і здати сам проєкт. Типу код, дизайн, все це теж сабмітиться через платформу університету. І є такі іспити, які самі по собі є презентацією. Наприклад, в 4-му семестрі в мене була англійська, і англійською треба було розповідати презентацію, і ця презентація складає якийсь відсоток фінальної оцінки. Тому це залежить від предмету, але є і письмові іспити, і презентації.
Okay, thank you. The next one, maybe you can answer it directly because I cannot read it.
Які можливості для вивчання Cloud Computing та Big Data існують на факультеті комп'ютерних наук? Це дуже конкретні теми, і вони можуть бути як включені в один момент. Це конкретні теми, і вони, скоріш за все, будуть включені або в якийсь предмет, або є така штука, як предмети на вибіркові, які пропонує університет на вищих семестрах, десь 5-6 семестр, коли ви вже знаєте основи, вам пропонують різні предмети, і ви можете обрати щось більш спеціалізоване, таке як Cloud Computing та Big Data. Мені здається, щось таке було на факультеті інформатики. Можливості є для вивчання. Є предмети, це як теми покриваються в інших, як базових предметах на факультеті інформатики. Це теж буде згадуватись.
Okay, does the university use VR or AR technologies in the teaching process for engineering students? I know that we have those technologies, but I don't know where they're exactly applied or in which study programs. You can also go to our study programs and choose like an engineer study program, and then scroll down, and you can also ask questions to the program managers of the study programs.
May I add something?
Yeah, you can add something, of course.
Я розумію, що це питання до інженірінг, але ось, наприклад, з інформатики ми саме вивчали VR і AR і робили проекти. І я знаю, що факультети доволі багато співпрацюють, і можна навіть запропонувати, якщо ви хочете, якщо у вас є ідея, як імплементувати VR, AR в навчання, то ви можете запропонувати це викладачам, і це можуть реально імплементувати як на ходу. І так, це не знаю, наскільки це вже використовують в інженірингу, але ви можете, як я вже сказала, просто спитати. Якщо ви будете вже навчатись, ви можете це як ідею презентувати.
Okay, thank you. If you have a question in general about the study programs and the details, you can always go to the web page of the study program. For example, this is Engineering Science Bachelor in German, and if you scroll down, you will find the head of the program, and you can also write those people a mail and ask about specific things about the study program. What is your main expectations from a new student mindset and skill at the start? So in order to get admitted, you should meet all the mandatory requirements, of course, but your application will also be viewed individually. So I cannot say what actually the admission office or the examination board for what criteria they are admitting. So if you also do not meet all the requirements perfectly, for example, the 2.5 grade, please you can still apply, of course, because it will be viewed individually. Yeah. So what's this there? Lots of questions we have. Hoof University is known for its water institute. Is there an opportunity to participate in projects related to wastewater treatments? I would say yes. I don't know how, but definitely there is a few, for example, study sustainable water management. There are projects. I don't know how easy it is to get into them. But here you can also go to the page of the institution, for example, and really ask about that. You can also always write to us, the Welcome Center, and we will forward your mail accordingly. Okay, Maria, can you...
It's a question
read these
regarding graduate school. What is the difference between these programs and normal study programs? And
Okay, yeah. The graduate school, as I said, is only accessible if you have work experience before, if you have 2 years of work experience. The difference is that it's the teaching concept is more is putting a bit more caring for the students, I would say. And there's, for example, factory excursions included, and it's just
The question
like
is more,
yeah.
I would add to the question, it was in regard of costs and
Costs, okay.
practice.
Costs is like that. It costs 3,300 per semester actually. And the normal study programs do not have any tuition fees. But the graduate school is something that is tailored for needs for people who have already work experience, so that they can differentiate their skills in that programs.
Is there any practical part in this study
Yes,
program?
in that programs there's also always a mandatory internship included.
But we also have like tuition-free study programs. We have sometimes also include internships.
Yes, it is like that. I can just go to the web page. Just a sec. I would suggest to visit the page of the Hof University Graduate School and like read the testimonials about it in order to decide for something like that. I will just make a link for this page. Okay. I will just go on with the questions because we don't have much time anymore. Can you apply if your language certificate isn't ready yet, but will be before the deadline? You can apply. You can always apply and add documents. And even sometimes you can also submit documents after the deadline, and you will be notified on our application portal. Usually you have to have all the documents before the deadline, but you can always add documents also if you've already submitted the application. If my son finishes 12th grade Fachoberschule, does he need German B2 certification? That's a good question. I don't think so. Yeah.
I'm sorry for interrupting. It sounds
Yeah,
like
sure.
The person is already in Germany and finishing a school here,
Yeah.
which means now you have German certificate of education of some kind, and you can apply with this without proving your language level, because it's kind of included in this certificate.
Yes. Normally it would be like that, as well as
to make
if
sure
you
you can
have
just directly contact the university and ask, because this is a German certificate. It kind of implies the language.
Yes, it implies the language, and I'm not sure for 100%, but you can ask that question again, like at our welcome address. Can you read the next question, Maria?
Does the university offer help in application for 18-month visa after graduation to find job? Like there is this visa kind after graduation?
Yeah. Yes,
that-
after graduation, you need like that job seeker visa.
Yes.
And normally, you always have to go to the immigration office in that city where you're registered. And the career service is offering you general help, gives you information, but not more than that. It can give you like some advice, but the most important thing is that you go to your local immigration office and ask about the process there.
Yes, there is actually nothing you need from university besides your degree to apply for this visa.
Yes, okay. You've already underwent the process, right, Maria? So you
Oh,
did
for
you
me,
apply for a job seeker visa?
for me, it's a bit different. I don't need this kind of visa because I already work, and after graduation, I will just apply for work visa.
Yeah. Yes, work visa,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, there are two different kinds. Job seeker visa gives you some time for finding a job, and a work visa is
But there isn't actually any help university can provide in getting this visa. You just apply for this visa. University
yes.
can help you to find job in a way. Like there is a page available, I think, for student only for students at Hof University. You can search for available vacancies in the region around Hof on the website.
Yes, yes, and in that case, you can get in contact with the career service, and they will help you with that. For the visa things, you can ask general things to the welcome center, and we will also do research about that. But yeah, as Maria's already said, the most important thing is that we cannot give you the official information, but the immigration office is always the official address where you can will find the yeah, what you have to do for visa. What are your rules on AI tools? Where allowed and where it becomes misconduct? Yeah, I don't know about that study program related things actually.
We have even our own AI tool at Hof University
Yes, that's true.
that was developed in-house, and students use it the same as they use ChatGPT and Claude and other AIs. Yeah, like from my experience, I can say that it was hard the first semesters to understand the content from lessons in German, but what really helps is that professors they upload their lectures, their presentations online, and you can use these presentations to study in your free time, and you use AIs to understand the content better. This does really help a lot when you're learning in a foreign language. And in terms of AI to like using AI to work on your programming or other assignments from university. There are no regulations. You can use it, but it will not help you in the exam, in the final exam. You just have to learn everything yourself, and you are responsible for the amount of help you get from AI at this point.
Okay, thank you. I think this is also a question where general education institutes have to establish regulations or are still discussing about how to deal with it. What are the differences between studying at the Münchberg campus and the main campus in Hof? So Münchberg campus is for the textile-related programs, and you can only study the textile programs there. And then we also have another campus in another town for the design programs. So the difference is that you will not be at the center campus, so to say. There's also libraries in Münchberg. I don't know if there's a canteen as well, actually. Yeah, you would be just in your own bubble, I would say, in Münchberg or in Selb. But still for the for administrative things, or when you want to connect to International Student Network, you can still come to Hof, of course, or sometimes you have to come to Hof. And this is also included in your semester tickets. You could use the trains for those cities. Does the university guarantee a dormitory spot for master students? Yes, if you apply. So as I said, when you get an admission, in your admission letter will be information on how to apply for the housing office. And if you do that, a spot in a dorm or somewhere else is guaranteed for you. No matter if you study masters or bachelors. What sports and cultural activities are available to students through university? Sports. So at the sports hall, there is, for example, ball sport games. There is like Zumba, dancing things, yoga, or just fitness programs, and there's a little gym included. Cultural activities through university sports. I'm not really sure what you mean by that, but cultural activities in general are promoted, for example, when the International Student Network organized by student is offering, for example, a hike for the students or an international brunch or whatever. And also we as the international office are once a year, we're doing a event on a certain country. For example, this year we had like an India night, and you can just come as a visitor and explore that on that day. Just students from India will hold presentations about specific things in their country or doing workshops. For example, we had a spices workshop, things like that. Yeah. Yes, I hope I answered this question. Since this is a University of Applied Science, can I later apply for a PhD through a partnership with another? Yeah, this is possible in general. That PhD stuff is in development, I would say. So I would not say that is really. I don't know how much, how likely is it that you get a PhD, but it is possible here. I would say that, and it's also possible with partnerships. Yes, but as we are not a research university, it's maybe a bit more difficult, or it's still in the process of developing. Can you read that question, Maria?
What is one key advice for a student who wants to apply for digital business program?
Okay, that's a really specific question.
I know nothing about digital business, but
I can
I don't think
yeah.
there is like it's very specific in terms of to be to get a place, a spot in digital business program. Just have to apply. I don't remember if we are asked to write a motivational letter to apply for a place at university.
Unfortunately, I also cannot ask this question in detail. As I said, you can always write to the program managers. The question was about digital business, right?
Mm-hmm.
The bachelor's
Yes.
in digital business. So at first I would read the website, of course. You have this page is only there in German. That's why I have to put it in German.
I would say if you want to get a spot in this program, you should just fulfill all the requirements that are listed on the website. And if there is an option to write a motivational letter, that would be nice, but only if this is really required from this program, for this program.
Yeah,
And
the problem is on some pages the requirements are not really transparent. For example, in this case, normally it's also a column here with requirements.
but
Here
what
it-
I did when I applied for my program, I just wrote an email to the I don't know how it's in English, but like Studiengangsleiter, the person who is responsible for this program on the university side, and I just wrote an email and explained, like, asked for detailed information what exactly I can submit to get place at for this program.
Yes, you can do that. Like normally the requirements at least should be, of course, transparent. In this case, it is not really. I'm just try to search something if I can find some information about this program. No, unfortunately not. I would, in this case, I would really write to the program manager. It's a German program, and I think they're not. We don't have many, queries. So like requests for these programs from internationals. I would say, like what is always the case that you need your education qualification, of course. You need B2 German level, and it could be that you also need like an that you have to demonstrate something, like going through an aptitude test. But I'm not sure in this program, unfortunately. Yes.
But you can always write to the manager of the program directly.
Yes.
Everyone appreciates a good structured email where you already show you're interested in this program and you ask direct questions how you can get secure a place.
That's a good advice. That is true. Normally, you find the requirements on the study programs here, of course.
There are also flyers, like maybe the detailed information about this program and requirements are in the flyer. Like there is a program flyer, and they usually list the content of the program and requirements in the flyer.
Yeah. In this case, I cannot see a flyer here.
Wir werden
Flyer.
da flyer.
Here's
Yes.
a flyer. Yeah, that was a good advice. Maybe it's here. So here they're saying about requirements that you have like that entrance qualification and that you are interested in economic coherences and processes of digitalization, and that you have also good social skills and that you like to deal with people in general. This is what they're saying here. I would still, in this case, ask the program manager in an official mail that he or she can confirm you the official requirements if they're not transparent on the website. Yes. Do we have any more questions?
We have a lot.
Can you see more questions? Because I already published all the questions that are now in gray. But there are more in the public sector. There are more questions.
Can students switch programs after starting if they realize it's not the right fit? Germans do this all the time.
Yeah, sure, you can do that. Just have to apply for that afterwards, but you can do that. Also, if you like got admission into another program at another university in German, you can also always switch to another program. And if there were like modules that are common into those both programs, you can apply also for credit transfer if the fields are like similar. I'm just trying to search the questions we didn't have. I think we had all questions.
I see a lot of new questions unter öffentlich, but I don't know how to show them.
But it's the same questions we had already if you read them.
There are some I haven't seen. And there is a question about projects, if there are any projects, real cases from companies students can work on. Yes, I can respond to it in Ukrainian.
Yeah, sure.
Є така штука, як Дуаль, дуаль програм. І це значить, що ви отримуєте місце в університеті, ви навчаєтесь, і це спонсує фірма. І коли ви починаєте проходити як інтерншип в обов'язкову практику від університету, ви працюєте над реальним проєктом для цієї фірми, яка спонсувала ваше навчання. Але це ось для дуаль. Іноді в них є ще як вимоги до деяких предметів. Наприклад, я не пам'ятаю, що це був за предмет, але один хлопець в нашій групі, він навчався на дуаль, і йому сказали розробляти реальний проєкт. В той час, як ми могли самі собі обирати проєкти, вигадувати їх, йому дали реальні. Тому це можливо. І ще момент, що коли ви проходите практику, ви працюєте над реальними проєктами. Ви потім документуєте те, що ви зробили до університету, але по факту ви розробляєте реальні проєкти від компаній. There is also a question to international business management, I guess. Does the program include internship abroad?
Which we have we have global management. Which program is it?
In Ukrainian, it stands international business. I'm not sure which one is this.
International business. So we have like a German bachelor in international management, and we have a master's in global management. If you consider the international management bachelor, I'm reading on the web page. Share the screen again.
I know that international internship is basically available for everyone. Study program, anyone from any study program can apply for international internship.
Yes, you can do that. In that program, international management bachelor, you have to an internship abroad, or you can do a semester abroad, I think. You can choose one of them, but in that case, yes, you have to do it abroad. And the global management masters is there's also a practical work experience abroad included, like an internship. And the master thesis also has to be done with an internationally operating company. Yes.
There is also a question if there is an opportunity to study German as like for free and apart from main program.
Yes. Yes. We have a language center, and you can always have language courses there for free, apart from your study program.
Does university accept English language certificates that were released in Ukrainian test centers during war. This is very specific. If it's like certified test center that gives you either IELTS or TOEFL, the English tests, then yes, it will be accepted. And the question was also how big are master programs, how many students are there, what is the correlation between students and professors.
Okay.
Excuse me,
Yeah.
Марія,
Yes.
перепрошую, я зараз вже переключуся на іншу презентацію. Ви, ну, давайте відповіді на всі питання, які є, а потім зачиніть. Добре?
У нас залишилось одне питання, насправді.
Добре, все. Тоді відповідайте і будемо закінчувати вже.
Okay. We can just finish with our last question and then we're done with our part.
Okay. All right. So about the how big or how many students are in one program, that's really
Masters.
different. We have programs, there are only a few people admitted because there's more I think more practical work, or it's more like only few people get admission, and there are programs that I would say around 40, 50 maybe is the approximate number, but I'm not sure about this actually, how many people are in one class. But it's not like in university there's big halls and there's like could be like hundreds of people in one lecture, and here in your batch it's always in a classroom environment,
It's also
so
hard
there are
to
small groups. Yeah.
It's difficult to estimate because in some subjects you have more than one group attending the lecture, which means that the amount of students for one lecture can be around 60 people, and for the other class you have only your study group, which is around 20 people max. And it's also different between semesters because so many people switch to other programs or leave the university. We started off as the group of almost 40 people, and by the last semester we were 20, like less than 20, I think. So it really depends.
Okay. Yes, but I think what you can say for sure is that in the like lectures are the bigger ones in the lecture halls, but for the seminars it's always smaller groups.
Yes.
Yeah.
Все,
Okay.
добре.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you for attending today's session at from Hoof University. Yeah, you can
Дякую.
always come back to us to the Welcome Center and ask any questions.
Все, дякую. Дякую за гарні відповіді. Все, будемо зачинятися. Все,
Дякую.
пока-пока.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Важко сказати, якщо ви тут, скажіть мені, щоб я точно задавали запитання, може, і програми наші.